The clock is ticking for TikTok.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance with Snapshot. Learn more about Snapshot at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
From Marketplace, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer in for David Brancaccio. TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, has 6 months to divest, or the U.S. plans to ban the app for national security reasons. Now, ByteDance is going on the offensive. In a new court filing, it calls the demands of the U.S. government unconstitutional, and it says government officials have refused to seriously negotiate for 2 years. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
The U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. has scheduled oral arguments 3 months from now to consider lawsuits filed by TikTok, ByteDance, and TikTok users challenging a law passed by Congress earlier this year, which gives ByteDance until January 19 to divest TikTok to avoid a ban. In new court filings, TikTok and ByteDance say the law violates Americans' free speech rights because a rapid divestiture is technically not possible, meaning that the law is essentially a ban of an app that the government simply doesn't like. American intelligence agencies say there are close ties between TikTok's parent ByteDance and the Chinese government. They worry that China can use the app to spy on Americans or manipulate public opinion in the U.S. But in its brief, TikTok and ByteDance say Congress ignored less restrictive alternatives, including an agreement which would have set up new safeguards for TikTok users. That agreement was never signed, the company says, because government officials stopped negotiating nearly 2 years ago. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Banking, more than any other sector, is ripe for disruption by artificial intelligence. That's according to a report out this week from Citibank. It finds that more than half of banking jobs could potentially be automated. Marketplace's Stephanie Hughes has that one.
Time-consuming financial tasks likely to be delegated to AI in the future, copying numbers from one computer system to another, and synthesizing a bunch of financial information quickly.
So if you're an analyst and you're reading an awful lot of documents, you can have the technology give you a quick and dirty summary of it.
Sophia Bantanides is an analyst with Citi. She's one of the authors of that new report, which says AI could transform finance. Bantanides says some jobs will disappear, but there will be new ones too, like making sure the artificial intelligence is getting correct data to spit out the right results.
But making sure also the organization is doing the right thing and that it is asking the machines the right questions.
Another thing that computer bankers won't be as good at as human bankers, dealing with human customers. Gil Luria is a senior analyst at D.A. Davidson.
The softer skills are going to become that much more important. Talking to somebody, understanding what their needs are.
People still get the meaning of a wink and a nod better than a computer does. Also, people know how to wink and nod. I'm Stephanie Hughes for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. The FTSE in London is down more than 0.5%. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are also down in the 1 to 0.3% range, with the Dow future down more than 50 points. The 10-year Treasury yield is up at 4.23%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business. From small business to big enterprise and everything in between, Amazon Business helps simplify the supplies buying process. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by How We Survive, a podcast from Marketplace. Climate change is dire, but there are ways we can make a difference. Listen to the new season of How We Survive wherever you get your podcasts.
Digitally altered images, audio clips, or videos, often meant to spread false information, are known as deepfakes. These kinds of misleading fabrications, often generated with the help of artificial intelligence, are especially worrying during an election year. There's concern about how deepfakes are being used to influence voters. But it's not just politicians, celebrities, and influencers who should be worried about their likenesses being stolen. Marketplace's China correspondent Jennifer Pak reports from Shanghai.
In the last 8 months, deepfakes of foreigners have been popping up on Chinese social media. In one video, a woman by the name of Lillian with brown hair and glasses speaks near-perfect Mandarin.
Do
you know why men nowadays don't want to spend money on women anymore? She asks. Her videos appear in at least 24 accounts with different names like Elena, Aurora, and Rosalie. Her real name is Andrea Gabor. She's in New York.
Tell me your first reaction when I reached out to you.
I was stunned. First of all, I'm a relative nobody.
Well, she is a business journalism professor and says she's very careful about what she posts online. Still,
they basically stole an image of mine from, a relatively wonky, obscure economic institute where I had done an interview.
But instead of talking about economics, her deepfakes give love advice. And that's typical, says Chen Yan in Beijing. He keeps tabs on the latest AI technologies.
A foreigner in China giving what we call chicken soup for the soul type advice is a big contrast. It attracts people's attention.
Once there's enough attention or followers, he says then the accounts can sell products or online courses. Sure enough, Andrea Gabor's deepfakes no longer talk about love. Now they peddle Russian honey, biscuits, and sea salt. It's getting cheaper and easier to create deepfakes. AI expert Chen Yan generated one of his own.
It took me 20 seconds to choose a topic. A digital person of trend before, a voice model of trend. Then I clicked download.
A couple minutes later, a video of him selling medical insurance appears. Okay, his mouth is not in sync with the audio, but there's a lot these deepfakes get right. Let's go back to Professor Andrea Gabor's deepfakes.
Obviously, it's weird to have Mandarin or whatever was coming out of my mouth, but it sounded like my voice.
And she only knew because I saw a Shanghai media, the paper, identify her in the deepfakes.
To me, that's the tip of the iceberg. To me, the dangers are much more profound to our democracy.
Like she says, how deepfakes could be used to manipulate voters in the next U.S. election. In Shanghai, I'm Jennifer Pack for Marketplace.
Our executive producer is Kelly Savera. Our digital producer is Dylan Mietinen. Our engineers are John Brewington and Brian Allison. In Washington, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public